Now that we have spoken about frames and understood what media frames are, let's try to learn together how to deconstruct these frames. In order for us to deconstruct frames, we look at very specific things. We look at 1. The writer's purpose, 2. his or her choice of words, 3. the argument they're making, and finally the tone of voice that they're using. In this session, we're only going to be looking at the writer's purpose and choice of words. But next session, we're going to be dealing with the rest. So let's start with the writer's purpose. As critical readers, we need to be able to evaluate the credibility of a piece of writing. All writers have a purpose when they write, and usually a writer will choose or emphasize facts and details which support his or her purpose and ignore facts which don't. As a good reader, you need to be aware of this. But what is a writer's purpose? There are 3 main purposes for a writer to write. Number 1, informative. And these are texts that provide factual information about a topic. Second, persuasive. And these are texts that express an opinion, that is the writer's opinion, and it's a text that's written to try to convince you of something or trying to put forward a person's opinion, and in many times the writer may use facts to support this. Finally, and the simplest of them all, not the simplest in writing, but the simplest in identifying, is entertaining. That is, all such as short stories, poetry, drama, literature in general. All of these are written to entertain. So the main purposes that people write for are either to give us information or to persuade us of something or to just simply entertain us. But how do we identify that? If we look at the text, we ask ourselves a few questions to be able to actually determine the purpose of the writer. The first question we ask ourselves is it a story, poem, or drama script? And the answer could be yes or no. If the answer is yes, then it is entertainment, and that's easy and quite simple. But if the answer is no, we need to ask ourselves another question. Does the text make arguments? And again, we have the choice of yes or no. If yes, then actually the purpose is persuade. The writer is trying to persuade us of his or her argument. But if no, the third question we ask ourselves is, does the text give facts? And again, yes or no. If it gives facts, then the purpose is to inform. To make this clearer, and if the answer is no, you have to start over again because it has to be one of those 3 things. So, to identify the author's purpose, we ask ourselves, is the text a poem, story, or play? If yes, then it's entertaining. If no, then we go to the next. Does the text mainly give facts and information? If yes, then the purpose is to inform. If no, we go to the next. Does the text make an argument? If yes, it is then to persuade us. If no, then you will have to start over again to actually try to identify what kind of text it is, what is the purpose of the text. So let's try to practice. You need to read with me the following and decide what is the author's purpose: to inform, persuade, or entertain. Let's look at them together. If it's the story of a teenage boy learning to understand and live with his father in a new country. So if you apply the 3 questions or the 3 stages of analysis, and the first question we ask ourselves is it a story, a novel, or drama? So what do you think this is? The answer would be, is it a story? Yes, it is. And since it's a story, what's the purpose? Yes, it is to entertain. What about the second one? A list of 25 richest athletes in the world. Is it a story? No, it's not. So it's not for entertaining. Does it have an argument? No, it doesn't. Then it is not to persuade. Does it give facts? Yes, it does. It gives a list of 25 richest athletes. Then it is just to inform. An article arguing with Michael Jordan why Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player ever. Is this a story? No, it isn't. So it's not there for entertaining. Does it have an argument? Yes, it's arguing why Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player. Then we know it is to persuade. What about an X-Men comic book? You know what a comic book is? It's like Mickey and Samir and those kinds of magazines. And of course, it's obvious it's for entertainment. What about the story about a young girl with low self-esteem learning to love herself? Again, it is to entertain. But what about a National Geographic article about the eating and breeding habits of endangered bald eagles? It is information. It gives us information. What about a website saying that a new shopping mall should not be built because it threatens an endangered bald eagle's home? The website also lists other reasons why the mall should not be built. This is an argumentative. They're trying to persuade us not to build the mall. But a poem about bald eagles is what? Is entertainment, of course. A magazine ad telling you to buy Nike Hyper Dunk shoes because you'll jump higher. What is that? Of course, it is persuasive. What about a sign saying, rest, stop 5 miles ahead? It just simply gives us information. So, as you can see, we need to always identify what the purpose is. Now, let's move to the second part, which is choice of words. Because really, choice of words are very, very important. The words and the language a writer uses is what really creates the frame most of the time. So, the choice of words can affect the slant of a text. There can be use of emotional vocabulary to direct the reader's inclinations and feelings. In your text, there are 2 passages about hoodies, and each has a different title. Let's compare the 2 titles. The first one says, Reclaim Our Streets, Hoodies and Babies. And the second one says, Under the hoodie is a child like yours. The 2 actually use emotional vocabulary, but the first one talks about reclaiming our streets. And what's the meaning of reclaim? Reclaim meaning taking back. So it's as if hoodies have taken away the streets from us, and we need to fight them and get it back. Whereas the second title says, under the hoodie is a child like yours. And what does this mean? What does this make us feel? It makes us sympathize with hoodies because at the end of the day, they're just children like our own children. And you see, it's the same title, it's the same story. However, with the first heading, it seems like hoodies are dangerous, whereas in the second, with the second title, it gives us more sympathy and compassion towards hoodies. When we're working with words, we need to differentiate between a word's denotation and a word's connotation. Denotation is the meaning. It's the literal meaning of a word as you would find it in a dictionary. On the other hand, connotation is the emotional and imaginative association surrounding a word. Connotation represents the various social overtones, cultural implications, or emotional meanings associated with a sign. As translator, you need to be aware if the word is used for its literal meaning or if the word is used for its connotation. Let's exercise this together. Let's look at this sign and write down all the feelings and meanings you get when you see this picture. So, if I am looking at the denotation of the picture, if I'm just going to describe what it is, it's a skull and two bones. However, that's the denotation of the picture. However, the connotation of the picture is danger, because we know that this symbol means danger. Yet, a skull and two bones have nothing to do with the actual fact of danger, but the connotation of putting them together gives us the symbol danger. This same principle applies to words because many words have different denotations from their connotations. Let's look at this example. Ocean. What does an ocean mean? If you put it in different sentences, it can give you different meanings. You can be either talking about its connotations or its denotation. So, if we say expansive, like for example, if I say he has an ocean of knowledge, meaning that he has expansive knowledge. It does not mean that there is water in his mind. Or ocean, peace. There is an ocean in my brain. It feels so peaceful. Or mysterious. I really cannot figure out this person. He's like an ocean, meaning he's mysterious. And what else? But what is the real meaning of ocean? What is the denotation of ocean? The denotation of ocean, if you look it up in the dictionary, it would say a body of a wide, expansive body of water. But I can use the word ocean in different sentences, in different contexts, to mean very different things. Let's look, for example, at the word chicken. Chicken, noun. It is a type of domestic fowl. It's food. You can get eggs. But what is the connotation of chicken? What does it mean if I describe somebody as chicken? What does that mean? If we use the word chicken as an adjective, it's a very different thing. It gives us a lot of different meanings. If I say this person is chicken, what does that mean? It means cowardly, it means fearful, it means frightened, it means a lot of other things. I could say this person chickened out, or this person is a chicken, or he's like a chicken, meaning fearful or cowardly or frightened. These are some examples of the same denotation but having different connotation. For example, if I say house or I say home, if I'm talking about something and I talk about a house or talk about home, what is the difference? House, of course, refers to this physical existence of a building, whereas home has the connotation of warmth and family. If I say cheap or affordable, what's the difference? If I say cheap, cheap means it's something cheap, something that's not good. But affordable means that it's something that's good because I can really afford it. Again, the same with economical and stingy. Economical means somebody that calculates, but stingy means somebody that's a miser. What about scent and stench? They're both, the denotation of both is a kind of smell, but scent is a sweet scent, it's something that's sweet, whereas stench is a stink, is a bad smell. Again, an adjective that's usually used with women, assertive versus pushy. Assertive means somebody that knows what they want. However, when women actually talk about insist on what they want, they call them pushy. So assertive has a positive connotation, whereas pushy has a negative connotation. Curious versus nosy. A curious person is actually a positive thing, is somebody that wants to gain more knowledge, whereas a nosy person is somebody that interferes in what they're not supposed to interfere in. Although their denotation is the same, their connotations are very different. One, curious, is positive, whereas nosy is negative. And finally, if we talk about slim and skinny, slim is positive, it's describing somebody as slim, it's being nice to them, and it's a positive word, whereas skinny is a very negative word and it has a negative connotation. So if I'm a writer or a reader for that matter, it is very important to notice what choice of word is made, because the writer can be writing about the same thing but using words that have different connotations, although they have the same connotation. Let's look at this example. Sit in the sunshine and smile, bask in the brilliant rays, discover your giggle. Compare it to sit in the hot sun and smirk, recline in the glaring rays, hunt for that snicker. Sit in the warm sun and grin, relax in the warm rays, look for a chuckle. Whereas the first one is a very positive image, you will sit in the sunshine and smile. The second one, you will sit in the hot sun. So if we compare sunshine to hot sun, although the meaning of the two is basically the same, but hot sun is hot, but sunshine is a positive thing, and smile, of course, means happiness, where smirk is half a smile, is not really, it does not connote happiness. Bask in the brilliant rays, like you bask in the brilliant rays. Bask is like get fried in the brilliant rays. Discover your inner giggle. Whereas you bask here, you recline in the glaring rays. So what's the difference between brilliant rays and glaring rays? The two mean there is a lot of sunshine, but one is brilliant where the other one is glaring, which means that it is hot, very hot. So the first one, brilliant, is positive, whereas glaring is negative. Discover your giggle is different from hunt for that snicker. Giggle, of course, represents happiness and joy, and you discover it. So if you sit in the sunshine and smile and bask in the brilliant rays, you're actually going to be happy. But if you sit in the hot sun and smirk, recline in the glaring rays, and try very hard, you hunt for that snicker, not even a giggle. What about the third one? Let's sit in the warm sun and grin. Relax in the warm rays. Look for a chuckle. So whereas the very first one was full of positive connotations and the second one was full of negative connotations, the third one is just neutral. It doesn't make us happy or sad. Whereas the picture we imagine with the first one is a very nice and positive picture, whereas the picture we imagine with the second one is a very ugly and frightening. It's terrifying. It's not a nice picture. But the third one is just okay. There is nothing special about it. There is nothing that would tell you that it is good or bad. It is just natural. There is no value judgment there. And as translators and as critical readers, we need to be able to identify the difference between all of these different words, because reading the words and their connotations, the choice of words really tells us what the author and the writer wants us to think, what the writer or the author wants us to feel. Okay, we're good. This is to be continued next time. Next time we'll be talking about argument and tone. Thank you very much.